Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Off করা আছে, sir. So we will do some problems today. We have discussed the theory, so we will do some problems based on the theory we have already discussed. So let us take the first one. It is a simple problem. It states that a three-phase 50 Hz induction motor has full load speed of 1440 RPM. Calculate the following: number of poles, full load slip and rotor frequency, the speed of stator field with respect to the stator and with respect to the rotor, the speed of the rotor field with respect to the rotor structure and with respect to the rotor field. So we know that induction motor runs at a speed which is slightly less than the synchronous speed. And synchronous speed for any machine with p number of poles given by 120 f by p. This is in RPM. So corresponding to 1440, if we consider that if that is the synchronous speed, then the number of pole calculated, it comes to be 4 and 1/6. So actually we cannot have that, and we know that the speed is not, the synchronous speed is not 1440. So the nearest integer, the number of poles will be 4. So corresponding synchronous speed you can calculate, that is 1500 RPM. So so corresponding slip will be synchronous speed minus the rotor speed divided by the synchronous speed. So this is 0.04. So rotor frequency, we know this is slip into supply frequency SF. So that will be 2 Hz. So you can see that the rotor frequency under running condition is very small. That's why we neglect the rotor core loss. Next is the speed of the stator field with respect to the stator. That we know is the synchronous speed, because the stator winding creates the field which rotates at synchronous speed. Stator is stationary, so the speed of the stator field with respect to the stator will be 1500 RPM, which is a synchronous speed. Next is the speed of the stator field with respect to the rotor. Now the rotor is rotating at 1440 RPM, and the direction of rotation of the stator field and the rotor in the same direction. So the speed of the stator field with respect to the rotor will be the relative speed between, which is the difference of these two speed. So that will be 1500 minus 1440, that is 60 RPM. Next is the speed of the rotor field with respect to the rotor. Now the rotor field is created by the rotor current. That rotor current is at rotor frequency, that is SF. So the speed of the rotor field with respect to the rotor will be 120 into rotor frequency by number of poles. So this will be 120 into 2 by 4, that is 60 RPM. Speed of the rotor field with respect to the stator. Now the rotor field is rotating with respect to the rotor at 60 RPM, and the rotor is rotating at a speed equal to 1440 RPM. So the speed of the rotor field with respect to the stator will be speed of the rotor structure plus speed of the rotor field with respect to the rotor structure. So this will be 1440 plus 60, so it is 1500 RPM. that is we know that any rotor quantity is reflected on the stator side at supply frequency. So actual frequency of the rotor circuit is different. So next, come to the next problem. This is again a simple problem. This is the stator of a three-phase 4-pole 40 Hz Wund rotor induction motor is supplied from a 50 Hz source, but its rotor is also energized from a 20 Hz source. Now, if we have a Wund rotor motor, on the secondary or the rotor, we have a regular three-phase winding which is connected to the slip ring and connected to the external circuit through brushes. Now, obviously, there is a possibility of giving supply to the rotor circuit also through slip ring and brushes. And we do have doubly fed motors where both the stator and rotor circuits are supply at different frequency. Now, what happens? The stator will create a field which will rotate with respect to the stator corresponding to the frequency of the stator supply. Similarly, the rotor field created by the rotor structure will rotate with respect to the rotor corresponding to the frequency of the rotor supply. So when the machine is running at steady state, these two magnetic fields should interlock to produce a constant torque. So depending on that, whether they are rotating in the same direction or the opposite direction, that will decide what is the rotational speed of the motor. So here we have the 50 Hz supply for the stator. So the speed of the rotor field, stator field with respect to the stator will be the corresponding synchronous speed for 50 Hz. We know this is 1500 RPM. Now the rotor structure is supplied at 20 Hz. So the speed of the rotor speed with respect to the rotor structure is 120 into 20 by 4, because 20 is the rotor frequency. So this is 1600 RPM. Now, if the motor is running, when the motor is running, the relative speed between the two fields must be 0. That is, the two fields should interact, interlock. Otherwise, we cannot have a steady torque. So if both the fields are rotating in the same direction, both the stator field and rotor field is rotating in the same direction. In that case, the speed of the motor will be difference between these two. So 1500 minus 600, that is 900 RPM. So the motor will run at a speed of 900 RPM. If the field are rotating in opposite direction, the speed of the rotor will be 1500 plus 600, that is 2100 RPM. So this is one of the methods of speed control of Wund rotor induction motor. Though actually what happens, it is a very complicated process, because as the induction motors has a very small air gap, it is very difficult to, without very elaborate control system, it is not possible to have a doubly fed motor. That is, that motor usually won't run if we just supply the rotor and the stator at different frequencies. We have to control, we have to have accurate control so that the fields can get locked. So the next come to the third problem. This is here we have a 3-phase 4-pole motor. The speed is 1440 RPM. It is a 50 Hz induction motor, which is star connected. That is a 3-phase 4-pole 1440 RPM 50 Hz induction motor with a star connected rotor winding. Has a resistance of 0.2 ohm per phase and standstill leakage reactance of 1 ohm per phase. When the rotor stator is energized from a source of rated voltage and frequency, the standstill EMF induced in the rotor is 120 volt per phase. Calculate the rotor current, rotor power factor, and torque at standstill and full load. If an external resistance 1 ohm is inserted in the rotor circuit, calculate the rotor current, rotor power factor, and torque at time of starting. So we have a wound rotor motor. Now the rotor current at starting is, if V2 is the per phase voltage in the rotor circuit, divided by R2 square plus X2 square. Now here it is given as 120 volt per phase. It is mentioned 120 volt per phase. So E2 is 120, R2 is 0.2, it is given, and this is 1. So putting the values, we get the value of the starting current in the rotor circuit, 117.67 ampere. Now remember one thing, when the connection has been mentioned, the star connected. Now here it has been mentioned that the induced rotor voltage is 120 volt per phase. But normally, unless it is mentioned, if it was just stated that the induced voltage is 120 volt, then you should take it as line-to-line quantity, because that is the quantity which is measurable. We do not measure the phase voltage. What we measure is the voltage between the two lines. So in that case, we should get the per phase voltage for star connected. It will be the line voltage divided by √3. Now, rotor power factor at starting is, rotor circuit is a short circuited circuit, so resistance divided by the total impedance. So R2 by root over of R2 square plus X2 square. So putting the values, we get the power factor as 0.196. Now the synchronous speed for 50 Hz 4-pole machine, it is 1500 RPM. And for synchronous speed, if we the omega s expressed in omega s, that is radian per second, that will be 55. Now starting torque is equal to 3, because these are 3-phase machine, divided by omega s into I starting square into R2 by 1. The starting slip is 1. So 3 by 55, 117.67 square, 0.2 by 1. So it is 52.9 Newton meter. This is the value of the starting torque. Now full load slip is, this is the synchronous speed, this is the full load speed. So divided by the synchronous speed, so this is 0.04, the full load slip. So rotor current at full load is given by the when the slip is S, then the rotor circuit voltage is AC2. So divided by the rotor circuit impedance, so that is R2 square plus SS square X2 square. So putting the values, we get the rotor circuit current, that is 23.53 ampere. Now the rotor power factor at full load is equal to, again, the rotor circuit resistance divided by the rotor circuit impedance. So this is resistance is 0.2 divided by root over of 0.2 square plus this is slip square into X2 standstill reactance. So the rotor circuit full load power factor is 0.98. So full load torque will be given by 3 by omega s into I full load square into R2 by S. So putting the values 3 by 50 pi in I full load 23.53 square, R2 is 0.2 and S is 0.04. So your full load torque is 52.87 Newton meter. So ratio of the starting torque to full load starting current to full load current is putting the values, it is approximately 5, whereas the starting torque to full load torque ratio is 1. When external when external resistance is inserted in the rotor circuit, so 1 ohm has been inserted, so 0.2 plus 1, it is 1.2 ohm per phase rotor circuit resistance. So the starting current will be E2 divided by R2 square plus X2 square. So R2 value will be the total value of the resistance in the rotor circuit, so 1.2. So we will get the starting current as 76.82. So you can compare that the starting current had reduced because we have inserted resistance. Now what happens to the power factor? Power factor, if you take R2 by the total impedance, it will give power factor is equal to 0.768. Power factor also improved because it is a resistance has been inserted, so power factor should improve. And the starting torque value will be 3 by omega s into I starting square into R2 by 1. So 3 by 50 pi into, this is the starting current, this value, into 1.2 the resistance by 1. So the starting torque is 135.25 Newton meter. So the starting torque has increased. Now next problem, it is a 3-phase 6-pole 50 Hertz induction motor has a full load speed of 660 RPM with its slip ring shorted. The motor drives a constant torque, constant torque load. If the rotor speed is reduced to this one, if there is a printing mistake, this would be 960, sorry. So the full load speed is 960 RPM. So the rotor speed is reduced to 800 RPM and 400 RPM by inserting external resistance in the rotor circuit. Then compare the rotor ohmic losses at these two reduced speeds with that of the full load loss. Now the full load slip is 1000 minus 960 by 1000, because for 6-pole 50 Hertz machine the synchronous speed is 1000 RPM. So the full load slip is 0.04. Now when running at 800 RPM, the full load speed will be 1000 minus 800 by 1000, that is 0.2. And if it is running at 400 RPM, it will be 1000 minus 400 by 1000, that is 0.6. Now for constant load torque, it has been mentioned that the load torque is constant. So constant load torque, the air gap power is constant. The rotor loss per phase is given by S into PG, where PG is the air gap power. So for constant load torque, as PG is constant, the ohmic losses are proportional to the slip. So we can write rotor ohmic loss as 800 RPM by rotor ohmic loss as full load will be proportional to the corresponding slip, that is 0.2 by 0.04 equal to 5. And when the ohmic loss at speed is 100 RPM, then the ohmic loss at 400 RPM by ohmic loss as full load will be 0.6 by 0.04 equal to 15. So you can see that the losses have been increased. That is obvious because we have resistance has been inserted in the secondary circuit. Now this is a we have a 10 kilowatt 400 volt 3-phase 4-pole 50 hertz delta connected induction motor. It is running at no load with a line current of 8 ampere. And input power of 660 watt. So at no load, the input stator current is 8 ampere, input power is 660 watt. At full load, the line current is 18 ampere and input power is 11.2 kilowatt. Stator effective resistance per phase, it is 1.2 ohm and the friction windage loss is 420 watt. For negligible rotor ohmic loss at no load, calculate what the stator core loss, total rotor losses at full load, total rotor ohmic losses at full load speed, torque developed, shaft torque, and motor efficiency. Now at no load, first data is for no load. At no load, power input is equal to basically the losses, no power output. So this is stator core loss plus stator ohmic loss plus friction and windage loss plus rotor core loss and rotor ohmic loss. Now rotor core loss for induction motor is negligible because the rotor frequency is very low. So this is neglected. And rotor ohmic loss has no load. It has been stated in the problem to be negligible. That is also true because the that current in the rotor circuit is very small. So the stator core loss is equal to no load input power minus the friction and windage loss minus the stator ohmic loss, because these rotor losses has been neglected. So the stator core loss will be input power minus the stator ohmic loss minus friction and windage loss. So the input is 660 watt. The friction and windage loss is 420 watt, and the stator ohmic loss will be 3 into stator per phase current square. So this is a delta connection. So for delta connection, as I have told that the quantities which we measure are always line quantity. So the current given is the line current. So the phase current will be line current divided by √3. So 8 divided by √3 square is the per phase current square into the resistance. So this gives you the stator core loss 163.2 watt. Now PG at full load, PG or the air gap power at full load is equal to stator input at full load minus the stator losses, that is the stator core loss minus the stator ohmic loss. So your stator input is given 11.2 kilowatt. So this is the stator input minus stator core loss we have found out from here, and again the stator ohmic loss. So three phases, current is 18. This delta connected, so 18 by √3 square into 1.2. So your air gap power is 10.648 kilowatt. So total rotor loss will be air gap power minus the power output. This is the air gap power. Power output is the rated power of the motor. For motor, what is given is the power output, the rating. So this is 10 kilowatt. So the difference between these two is the total rotor loss. Now the total rotor loss includes the rotor ohmic losses plus windage and bearing friction losses, as we have neglected the rotor core loss. So rotor ohmic losses will be total rotor loss minus windage and bearing friction loss. This value is given in the problem. So the total total rotor loss is this 468 from here minus the windage and bearing friction loss 420 watt. So your rotor ohmic loss is 220 watt. Now the rotor ohmic loss from definition from the theory, we know that it is equal to S into PG, where S is the slip and PG is the air gap power. So slip is the rotor ohmic loss divided by air gap power. So rotor ohmic loss is 220 watt and air gap power is 10648 watt. So the ratio of these two will give you the slip 0.0212. So full load speed will be ns into 1 minus s. So this will be 1468.2 rpm. Torque developed is the air gap power divided by the synchronous speed in radian per second. So air gap power is 10648 divided by synchronous speed in radian per second, 50 pi, that will give you 67.8 Newton meter. So shaft torque will be P shaft by omega R is equal to, putting the values, P shaft is 10,000, is the rated power output. That will give you 65 Newton meter. Efficiency will be shaft power, P shaft is the output power. So output power divided by the input power, output is 10,000, input is 11.2 kilowatts. So ratio we get the efficiency as 0.892 or 89.2%. Now this one is getting we'll solve for this problem. We will solve the equivalent circuit. Get the values by solving the equivalent circuit. The equivalent circuit parameters are given. That is a three-phase star connected 400 volt 50 hertz induction motor has the following parameters. R1 is equal to 0.15 ohm, X1 is 0.45 ohm, R2 dashed 0.12 ohm, X2 dashed 0.45 ohm, XM or the magnetizing reactance is 28.5 ohm. Fixed losses, that is the core and friction and windage losses, is equal to 400 watt. So stator to rotor effect, and another thing even is stator to rotor effective turns ratio 1.2. So what we have to find out, to find out the motor current, output torque and efficiency at slip of 0.04. The slip at which maximum torque occurs, the maximum torque and corresponding power output, the rotor current and torque at starting, the external resistance to be inserted in the rotor circuit to produce maximum torque at starting. Now, for the first, that is the motor current, output current and efficiency with the slip, when the slip is 0.04. So we have to solve the equivalent circuit. So the total in the input impedance is that stator impedance, that is stator resistance, stator leakage reactance, plus the magnetizing reactance in parallel with the rotor impedance. So putting the value, now this is normally written in the form, that is the stator impedance plus this, that is the magnetizing reactance in parallel with the rotor circuit impedance, is normally written as RF plus JXF. If we write it like this, then putting the values, R1 is 0.15, X1 is 0.45, R2 dashed is 0.12, S is 0.04, X2 dashed is 0.45. Here I have missed one, that is J. xm. Then denominator is 0.12 by 0.04 plus j into x2 dash plus xm. So if you simplify this, you will get values like this. So this is R1, this is X1. So from comparing this is RF and this is XF. If we add the total input impedance is 3.02 plus J 1.188. If written in this form, this is 3.25 angle 21.47. Stator current I1 will be given by per phase stator voltage. It is a star connected circuit. So 400 by root 3. I have shown angle is equal to 0 degree because I have taken the voltage as a reference. So divided by the total impedance. This impedance is 3.25, angle of 21.47. So from here we get the current is 71.06, angle of minus 21.47. So this is the power factor angle. So power factor will be cos of 21.47, minus means it is a lagging power factor. So it is 0.93 lagging. Stator input will be root 3 into, this is line voltage, into the current into the power factor. Or we can have 3 into phase voltage into phase current into power factor. So 400 by root 3, the same value. So stator input is 45.784 kilowatt. Now air gap power is equal to, now this is a Z input total plus this is the stator input and this is the total secondary circuit as impedance. So air gap power will be corresponding to this resistance. So air gap power is 3 I1 square RF. So putting the values, we will get air gap power is equal to 43.476 watt. So synchronous speed in RPS will be 2F by P. So it is 25 RPS. So omega is equal to 2 pi into 25, so 50 pi. Mechanical power developed will be equal to, if you remember the expression, the air gap power was PG, the rotor ohmic loss was SPG, so the rest, that is the was the mechanical power developed. So mechanical power developed is 1 minus S into PG. So 1 minus 0.04 into PG we have already calculated. So we gave the mechanical power developed 41.737 kilowatt. In the power output, P shaft, the shaft power output will be the mechanical power output developed minus the fixed losses. So this is the mechanical power developed minus fixed losses is 400 watts, so 0.4 kilowatt. So this is 41.337 kilowatt. Now the output torque is shaft power output divided by the rotor speed. So this is the shaft power output. This is 41337 divided by 1 minus 0.04 into 50 pi. So this is output torque is 247.12 Newton meter. The different Losses of the motors are the stator ohmic loss. First one is the stator ohmic loss, that will be 3I square, I1 square into R1. So 3, I1 is 71.06 and R1 is 0.15. So putting the values, we will get 2272.3 watt. Now next is the rotor ohmic losses. So this is S into PG. So S is 0.04, PG is for this one, air gap power 43476 watt. So putting the values, rotor ohmic loss is 1739 watt. Then we have the fixed loss, it is given as 400 watt. So total loss will be the stator ohmic loss plus rotor ohmic loss plus fixed losses. So this is 4411.3 watt. Power output we have calculated as 41.337 kilowatt. So power input should be the power output plus the total losses. So this is the power output plus total losses. So this is 45.478 kilowatt, the power input. So efficiency is 1 minus loss by power input. Also you can write as power output by power input. So putting the values, we get efficiency is equal to 0.9036 or 90.36% efficient at full load. Now this equivalent circuit I have not drawn here. If you this is the Thevenin equivalent circuit which we developed during the derivation of maximum torque. So the Thevenin, if you refer to your circuit, the Thevenin, Z Thevenin was defined as the input, the stator impedance in parallel with magnetizing reactance. So putting the that is R1 plus JX1 in parallel with JXM. So putting the values, this is R1 plus X1, this is XM divided by R1 plus X1 plus XM. So here you can see that 0.51 is very small compared to this is almost 29. So neglecting this, approximately this is 0.15 into J45 into J28.5 by 28.95. So R Thevenin is R1 into this plus this. So R Thevenin is 0.1476 ohm. Similarly, X Thevenin is X1 into XM by XM plus X1. So that is equal to 0.443 ohm. Now for maximum torque, the output in the load impedance should be equal to the input impedance of the circuit. That is the maximum power transfer theorem. So the torque, if you remember the torque expression that was given by the air gap power divided by the synchronous speed. So air gap power is given by 3 I2 square into R2 by S divided. So that was the total power. So that was the power. This is basically from the equivalent circuit point of view, power which is dissipated across the resistance R2 by S. So R2 by S is the load impedance. So that should be equal to the internal impedance of the circuit. So internal impedance is that Thevenin resistance plus Thevenin reactance plus the secondary leakage reactance. So R2 dashed by SMT is equal to R Thevenin plus J X Thevenin plus X2 dashed. So putting the values 0.12 divided by SMT. SMT is the sleep at which maximum torque occurs. is equal to R Thevenin plus X Thevenin plus X2 dashed. So we can get the magnitude of this, and from here we get SMT is equal to 0.1326. Now from the equivalent circuit, the V Thevenin is equal to V1 by root 3 XM by XM plus X2 dashed. So putting the values, this is 227.4 volt. So the maximum torque expression, if you we have derived this expression, this was equal to 3 V Thevenin square divided by omega s into 2 into R Thevenin plus root over of R Thevenin plus X Thevenin plus X2 dash square. So we can we have all the values. So putting the values, we get the maximum torque as 469.1 Newton meter. So mechanical power developed corresponding to maximum torque will be maximum torque into the speed of the motor at that condition. So for speed, we will have 1 minus SMT into omega s. So again, putting the values, we get the mechanical power developed under this condition, that is 63915.3 watt. So corresponding to output power, this is the power developed. So correspondingly to this, the output power will be this mechanical power developed minus the fixed losses. So this is 63515.3 watt. So maximum shaft torque will be maximum output power divided by the speed in radian per second. So this will be 63515.3 divided by 50 into pi into 1 minus SMT. So this is 462.2 Newton meter. So this is the developed torque, this is the shaft torque. Now the next one was the rotor current. The rotor current and rotor and the torque at starting. So rotor current at starting will, that also we get from the Thevenin's equivalent circuit, V Thevenin divided by the total impedance. So this is the R Thevenin R2 dash plus X Thevenin X2 dash. Your slip is 1. So putting the values, we will get I2 starting as 243.94 ampere. So the starting torque will be 3 number of phases 3 into I2 starting square into R2 by slip 1 into 1 by omega s. So putting the values, we get I starting as 136.4 Newton meter. Now the last portion is to get the maximum torque. What resistance should be inserted in the circuit to get the maximum torque at starting? So the resistance, rotor resistance is 0.12. So let us insert a resistance R. So the total circuit, rotor circuit resistance is 0.12 plus R. The slip is 1 because the starting slip is 1. That should be equal to the we want the maximum torque at starting. So R2 by H should be equal to the total impedance. So we can put the values, and from this equation get the value of R. Now now this R value, what we get, 0.785 ohm, that is referred to the rotor side, because that was the rotor quantity. 0.12 is the not the absolute rotor quantity. This is the rotor resistance referred to the stator side. that is the rotor resistance given. So when we refer to the stator side, actually this is referred value. So what we actually insert should be this by 1.2 square. 1.2 is the effective turns ratio, because this was R2 dashed. That is actually R2 into 1. This 1.2 square that was in here in this quantity. So that for the actual value of the resistance, if we insert this resistance in the rotor circuit, then it is reflected in the stator. That this will give a value of this. So I will stop here today. This Thursday I will take a class. I will next take the class on next Tuesday. We will do a few more sums. Then we will shift to the construction.